guys, welcome to this course where we learn different concepts in JavaScript with fun and great involvement. In the last lecture, we learned how to invoke a function, and in this lecture, we are going to see what the scope of a variable in JavaScript is. But before that, let us see the agenda for this lecture. So first of all, we will be seeing meaning of scope, list of scopes, and example of which. That is block scope, function scope, global scope, and at the end, there is an assignment. So what is the scope? Scope in JavaScript basically represents accessibility. Now there are two types of scopes that were present before ECMA script 2015. Function scope and global scope. But now there is an addition to the scope. So now it becomes block scope, function scope, and global scope. ES6 introduced the let and constant keyword to us. Because of these keywords, the block scope was created. So I hope you got the idea of what a scope is. Now let us get into our first type of scope. That is the block scope. As we discussed earlier, let and constant keywords are the reason for the block scope addition. When we declare a variable inside two curly braces, we cannot access it outside. For example, let name equal to John. The variable name cannot be accessed here. In this example, we cannot access the name variable outside the scope. But please keep in mind, block scope is only valid for let and constant, not for variable. Variable name equal to John. The variable name can be accessed here. We change it to var, that is variable, and it is accessible outside the block also. So let us move forward to the next type of scope, that is the function scope. Function scope means the variables created inside a function cannot be accessible outside. Isn't it straightforward? It does not matter if you are creating a variable using let, constant, or variable. The rule is the same for all. Each function creates a new scope. Cannot use it here, function show. Variable name equal to John. Cannot use it here. A variable created with variable cannot be accessed outside. Cannot use it here. Function show. Let name equal to John. Cannot use it here. A variable created with let also has the function scope. Cannot use it here. Function show. Constant name equal to John. Cannot use it here. Same with the constant keyword. The last but not the least is the global scope. Variables created globally have the global scope. They are created outside the function. Global variables can be accessed from anywhere in a JavaScript program. Variables declared with variable, let, and constant are quite similar when declared outside a block. Let name equal to John. Function show. You can use the variable here. You can use the variable here also. As discussed before, global variables can be accessed from anywhere. Now guys, please keep in mind, if you assign a value to a variable that has not been declared, it will automatically become a global variable. This code example will declare a global variable name even if the value is assigned inside a function. Function display. Name equal to John. Display. Here the scope of the name variable is global. So these are the scope of variables in JavaScript. I hope you understood all of them. We have this extensive course on JavaScript. It is going to be extremely essential in web development area. So in this lecture, we are going to learn what variable hoisting is. I know this word might be new to you, but do not worry, because till the end of this lecture, you will have a clear idea and understanding of this word and its definition. But before getting started, let us have a look at the agenda. We will start with the definition of hoisting, then an example with a detailed explanation. After that, how a variable can be used before it has been declared, and how only variable declarations are hoisted to the top, not variable initialization. At the end, there is an assignment for your practice. So without any delay, let us get started. Let us look at the definition of hoisting. Hoisting is JavaScript's default behavior. That means it automatically gets done. Basically, hoisting means JavaScript moves the declaration of variable to the top of the code. If it is declared in a function, then JavaScript will move the declaration to the top of the function. If the variable is declared outside the function, it will move it to the top in the global context. If you are still confused, don't worry at all. I know after one example, you will surely understand it. But first of all, let us see how we declare or define a variable. Variable A. And now we will initialize it. A equal to 5. Even though you know all these steps, it is always better to revise. When you declare and assign variable at the same time like this, JavaScript will take this as and move the declaration part to the top. Now let us take another example. Then JavaScript will do this. And this would be JavaScript's compile phase. JavaScript scans the code, and whenever there is a variable declaration, it moves that part to the top. Now let us see an interesting point. A variable can be used before it has been declared. Yes, the statement is true. We can use the variable first and then declare it. In this example, we are using the variable first. We have initialized it, displayed it, and then used it. Now let us look at its compile phase. So JavaScript hoists the variable and moves the declaration. In short, because of this behavior of JavaScript, you can use variables before declaration. Now the next important point is, only variable declarations are hoisted to the top, not variable initialization. Let us see an example and understand it. So do you know why our output is undefined? Well, this is because only the declaration of B is hoisted to the top, not the initialization as the statement says. We can hoist the declaration but not the initialization. JavaScript takes it as you can see, the initialization part remains as it is, but the declaration part moved to the top. Hence, the second statement is proved. We are at the end of this session. Well, that is it for today, and here is an assignment for you. And on that note, we have reached the end of the session. In the next lecture, we will be covering an interesting concept in JavaScript. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye.